just wanted to take a few minutes to show you how you can edit video. It's very easy, and I'm using a system or a software called Camtasia, but the truth of it is most of these are function fundamentally the same. So what I'm doing right now is, or what you saw me do right then, was I wanted to get some media. I want to get a Zoom interview that I did. So I went into File, and this might be different for your software, but it's going to be pretty close. Import media. I go there. I selected the thing that I had just downloaded, right? And now that's going to show up in my media bin. Okay, so I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to just click on it, and then I drag it to one of the tracks. And tracks are pretty common. Sometimes people call them layers, but this is where you can have things on top or things below. So if I wanted to have this video and then I wanted to put something over top of it like another image, so let me just import an image. So do I have any images here? I'll do an image over here. So again, just pulling in media, it's going to show up in my media bin. And now I can either put this here so it shows up over the video, or I can put it down here and so that it's hidden from the video, right? So let's say that I want to have it in the video, and let's say I want to pretend that my friend Ryan is actually talking to Roy Campanella. Then, I could make it look like a Zoom link like this. This is where you would put things like, let's say I wanted to put the web page that you could find this on. And then here is the sort of timeline, right? Now here, this is what's called an annotation or a call out. And I would just bring that here and modify it. Again, the basics that I want you to be aware of are just things like being able to cut something into pieces. Like this is how long is this? This is a 40-minute video, and there are about 4 things in here that I want to capture, and I want to save them into different ones. So let's just say I go www.forthuntuniversity.com. And so now on this call out, and again, like let's say I want to do the Campanella and I want this thing to be this web page to be on the whole thing. So I need another track, right? So I can go right click here, insert track above, and there's lots and lots of options. I've probably used 0.01% of the options, and yet I'm able to do videos. So I can just now drag this, and now it's on the whole thing. I can change the color. You can see I can do all kinds of things with the size, blah, blah, blah. Fundamentally, we just want to show a couple things here. So as an example, the big one is cutting things into pieces. So let's say that I only want, so let's say Ryan's talking.
Random assignments. Now, but then I think what I'll do is I will.
So there's that. And now let's say I want just that portion. So I click over here, and I don't know if this is common for all the video editing software, but this is how it works in Camtasia. I click S, and what that does is it splits the 2 videos. So now I can move that out of the way, and I can say I like this, and so I select it. And what I can do is right click. So what you saw there is the select option. So this shows it's just moving along. And then here I can basically copy and paste or select. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and it's going to say produce timeline selection as, and this is how you can produce it into a MP4, share on YouTube, etc. Okay. And this is called rendering. And rendering takes a while, depending on how long it is. This wouldn't take that long. If I did this, produce this, select your settings, and let's just say test video. So this is going to start here in a second. It's probably going to take 45 seconds. It's just taking a while to start. All right, so it's going to run through it. It's rendering it into an MP4, and then I can take that MP4 and upload that to YouTube with the video, right? I'll cancel this. No need to do it. Yes. Okay, so now it's not responding. No big deal. So there's lots and lots of options, and you can get better and better and better. But if you had a video, let's say that somebody sent you a video, or you did a video on your phone, or you downloaded something off of YouTube, and your goal was to just cut some pieces of it, you can do that. You know, I took this and I broke it into pieces, and then I just moved this out of the way. There are lots of things you can do here. If I come into my library, I can add music. I can add intros, like I can add an intro like this. These are the different tools that the different, your different editing software is going to have. You can do things where it's called lower thirds, where I'm just going to move this up here, where you can, so look here. So a little bit of a fancy introduction, and then it goes into the video, right?
Your lips.
And then let's say another thing that you can do here is something called a lower third. A lower third is where you put the person's name and stuff. I'm going to create another track above it. This is my favorite lower third that I use all the time. Right? So now you go, oh, we got our cool intro, and then it comes into the speaker.
Your lips. From your lips to God's ears.
And then another thing that's kind of cool is the music. So we'll just bring this simple way, bring this down here. I'll get rid of old Roy. So here's the produce. All right, so that's a pretty long intro. And then you go into
your lips. From your lips to God's ears.
So there is the sort of basics. I mean, if you can do those few things and just being able to cut stuff up and move it. And if I was doing like a true highlight thing, I could cut this up into, like I'm going to just click on S, click on S, click on S, right? This means split. I'm just splitting it into pieces. And then let's say I want to get rid of that part and get rid of that part. There's this thing that I use called magnetic track, and it basically just grabs it together. So you don't have to grab and drop. But I mean, these are all things that you're going to learn as you're playing with your software, and different software works in different ways. But that basic concept of importing media and then cutting it into pieces and then putting things in front of it or putting things behind it is how this whole thing works. And again, that's way too long for me. So let's just say this. This would be a reasonable.
Your lips. From your lips to God's ears, man. We got that we talked about.
So that's basically a little bit of an introduction to video editing. Nothing really that complicated. As you can see, it's kind of, if you were having to learn all these tools, all the options for Camtasia or Sony Vegas or Adobe Photoshop or any of these types of video editing tools, it would be overwhelming. But you don't need to, because there's only a couple things you need to do to start, and then you can say things like, oh, how do I do transitions between different videos, or how do I do animation, or how do I what else is in my library that I can use, right? Oh, what's an outro, or what's a motion background? And these are all the things that you can play with. But for just simple video editing, any of the software you have is going to say, how do you split video? How do you save it? And how do you export it as a new video? Okay.